Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Unless that word is osteoporosis. Although I guess it's not the word that hurts as much as the condition, and technically osteoporosis itself won't actually break your bones, but it does make you more susceptible for fracture.
Literally means osteo, which is bone, porosis, which is porous. So it means that the bone is more porous than normal bone. And because it's more porous, it's less dense. And because it's less dense, it's more fragile. And these fragile bones are more at risk for fracture. And the whole reason we care about osteoporosis is honestly because we just don't want bones to fracture. There's a lot of morbidity and even mortality associated with fracture.
Bones are not like the solid, unyielding structures we imagine them to be. In their center, bones look like sponges and are made of an intricate web of tissue, nerves, and cartilage that constantly reabsorb and build new bone. More bone loss than bone formation is what puts the porous in osteoporosis. But why would our body suddenly start reabsorbing bone if it can't keep up the building of new bone?
We can divide up the reasons for developing porous bones into things that are preventable, things that are lifestyle, and things that are not preventable. In terms of lifestyle, we know that a good calcium intake in growing bones is very important. That in societies where there is adequate calcium and vitamin D in the food that one eats, there is a less incidence of osteoporosis and a lesser incidence of fracture. We know that exercise, and when we say exercise, we mean at least 3 times a week of good physical activity, is very important to helping maintain bone strength. We know that smoking is a really big issue in terms of both decreasing formation of good bone and increasing resorption.
Other risk factors, ones we have no control over, are a family history of osteoporosis or hip fracture, and certain chronic illnesses that are associated with poor bone formation, accelerated bone loss, or prolonged bed rest. Also, thin Caucasian and Asian women are more prone to osteoporosis, though other demographics, including men, are still at risk. Like any medical condition, it's important to screen for and treat developing osteoporosis early.
What we have is a marvelous tool. It's X-ray called the bone densitometer, which literally is measuring the bone density. Any woman who is entering menopause should have a baseline bone density. The World Health Organization, National Osteoporosis Foundation, has now said any man over 70 should be considered for a baseline bone density. If you have a risk factor, as I mentioned before, a significant risk factor that we think we may miss an important management change of the patient because we would have recognized that they had bone loss earlier, would be a reason to get a bone density earlier.
Thankfully, there's a lot you can do to anticipate and counteract the effects of osteoporosis if you consider the lifestyle factors we discussed earlier. Don't smoke, maintain a balanced diet full of calcium and vitamin D, exercise, and if you've already developed osteoporosis, you might want to stay away from your neighborhood playground. Apparently, children often throw sticks, stones, and words around in an attempt to break bones. I'm Dr. Keller Wortham, and you're watching the eHealth Network. Back after this break.